St. Louis's favorite circus returns to Grand Center for its 25th season. Circus Flora next on City Corner. Vagabond Adventures is the theme for Circus Flora this year. It returns to Grand Center, opening on June the 2nd. David Balding is the longtime artistic director and founder. Hi, David. It's great to see you again.
Well, it's great to be here.
25 years? Are you kidding?
No. 25 years, and it's going like a flash, but I'm looking forward to the next 25 years.
You know, I've been going, I guess, religiously for 5 or 6 years, and once I started, and I tell everybody, I am hooked. People love Circus Flora.
Well, thank you. I think that's the most rewarding thing that has happened over the 25 years, is that we have become a beloved institution in St. Louis. And it was sort of climax when we, in January, did our collaboration with the symphony.
I didn't get to see that, but I read all about it. What was that like?
It was wonderful.
You were at Powell Hall.
We were in Powell Hall. We put up Tino Walenda's wire over the audience. And it was a great success, and we're going to do more with them.
Someone deserves credit for that. Who came up with that idea?
Well, various people. It was a collaboration, truly.
Well, it was a good one.
Yeah. Cecil McKinnon was very responsible.
She's like the MC, right?
Yeah, but she wrote the script and timed it, and the performers were wonderful, redoing their acts to the specific music. And so, and of course, everyone at the symphony.
You need to do that every year.
Yeah.
That's what
every other year, they say.
Every other?
I say every.
Well, if people have never been to Circus Flora, they probably have seen the big tent go up, speaking of Powell Hall, right adjacent to Powell Hall every year. And I guess you're on for almost a month.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks.
And what makes it unique and really cool is you call it a one-ring European-style circus. So maybe you should explain that.
Well, I've sort of dropped the European because I think we're really an American circus, very much so, with the St. Louis Arches and some other new talent that we've developed. But it is one ring, and that is the real difference, and it's the difference between intimacy and a sports arena. And once you've been that close, where you can see the performers, they can see you. There's a kind of bonding that goes on that only can happen. It can't happen in a sports arena. Right. It's impossible. And Circus Flora tells a story, so you're involved already in a script and a plot, and you know the people. And while we always have new acts and a new show, we do have some regulars who always come back. So it's fun to see them. And like people have grown up on our circus. And some of the arches under Jessica Hentoff's leadership are second generation.
They're super. For those people who don't know, St. Louis Arches are based at City Museum, right?
Yeah, they're at City Museum.
And they're acrobatic kids, basically. Yeah. And they're great.
Yep. And they've gone on, and they're up. 2 of them will be at the Montreal Professional, the best school now in the country, the feeding school, the Cirque du Soleil. But it's very hard to get in there. And they're going to be professional performers. This is exciting.
Absolutely. We have a few images from shows past that maybe you might want to comment on, so why don't we go to those now?
Well, that, of course, is our clown, Giovanni Zoppe, and he's crying, as you can tell, and getting the audience wet at the same time. He's beloved in St. Louis. That's with one of the little young baby arches, who sort of played his sidekick in one of the shows.
That kid stole the show last time I saw him.
Right.
He was incredible.
And that's Giovanni with his baby, his own child. And again, he's wearing a sort of padding to be Don Quixote's partner.
Right. Giovanni really is a little thinner than that.
Yes.
In real life. And David, I know because You've been on St. Louis Public Radio with me several times in the past, as Giovanni has at least once, I think. So I've sort of gotten to know some of the cast, and he's along with Cecil. He's an integral
very
part
much
of this.
so. He's a beloved clown, and everyone loves him here. And he takes a part throughout the whole show.
And don't I remember? Isn't he related to? Is it the Flying?
Well, yeah, he's Tino Walenda's half brother.
The Flying Walendas, everyone should know, right?
I hope so. They're the world's the best high wire act in the country and the most famous.
Yeah, isn't it amazing a family like that? And they've done that for generations.
Yeah.
It's amazing that that's kind of survived.
And I will continue. But it is, they were very careful to give their children opportunities to do other things. But Tino learned from Carl, his grandfather, and now the children are learning from Tino. But it'll continue.
You know, you talk about the intimacy of Circus Flora because it is one ring and it's a smaller audience. How many do you hold?
About 1,800.
So, and I know this from going year after year, there is no bed. You could be in the back row and it's still a good seat.
Well, we had a new seating system a couple of years ago, so everyone has an armchair, in essence.
Yeah.
It's got a back and it's got arms. It's not the old wooden bleachers we can remember from our childhood.
But everything is so up close and personal.
Yeah.
You were referring to before, and when you're talking about the Walendas or other people on the high wire, I mean, it's just breathtaking because you're so close, and I hope it's not as dangerous as it looks.
Well, it takes real concern and real concentration, but they don't have a net, and they never have used a net, and they do these pyramids, and yeah, it can be dangerous, but I trust him totally.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Because kind of you're gasping. As an audience member, you're gasping inside.
And the Flying Pages are coming back with their Flying Trapeze Act, which is extraordinary. It's probably the best Flying Trapeze Act. He does the triple at almost every show. He certainly attempts it.
Let's take a look at 3 more images
certainly.
from Circus Flora, past years, and you can tell us what we're seeing.
All right, that's us bowing to the St. Louis Symphony. That was the collaboration I was referring to. That's our performers, including myself, I think, down there somewhere, at the on stage. These are the St. Louis Archers at the Symphony again, performing. And this is a new act. The Donnerts, they juggle on horseback, and they're acrobats on horseback.
David, like you say, you have a lot of the same acts come back. You have new ones, 2 every year. Where do you find these people?
Well, the Donnerts I've had an eye on for years, but they've been working for Cheval Theater at first and then for Cavalier, which are those big equestrian shows that tour the major cities. And we're never really available. And this is the first time they've been available.
Now, Circus Flora began here in St. Louis, but you do a little touring yourself, don't you?
Oh, yes, we do. The last couple of years, because of the economy, it's been hard. But we're starting to see an increase in interest, and we hope to tour. We started, actually, our first performance ever was at the Spoleto Festival for Giancarlo Menotti in Charleston, South Carolina, 26 years ago. 25 years, we opened the Carousel building at Faust Park. We put our tent in Faust Park. And that's how St. Louis really became our home.
Yeah. Is touring a lot more difficult? I can only imagine what's involved in picking up what you guys do and everything that you use and moving it somewhere else.
Well, it takes time and labor. And, of course, with gas prices going through the roof, it's really hard. And the artists, when they do, play shrine dates or other circuses of that nature, don't get reimbursed for gas. And so they have to budget their asking price to cover their expenses.
Really?
But now if you have to drive across the country, your paycheck goes to the gas station.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about these performers. They may work a couple of months for you. Are they able to work all year doing their craft?
Well, they try very hard. And they spot date, as they call it, is their preferred way of doing it. If they can get enough bookings, they can get a little more money, they have a little more independence. They'd rather work for us than Ringling Brothers just because we're family, and that's a corporation.
It's tough to make a living if you're any kind of artist.
Yeah, that is true. But it feels like our ticket sales are up over last year. Tickets are on sale now, and if you go to our website, you can it'll tell you how to get tickets. But it is, I see an increase in ticket sales, group sales, and general interest in touring. So even if the economy isn't really getting better because of gas prices, I think people are in a mood now to have fun.
Well, I think
And
positive.
yeah.
I think it is getting better slowly.
Yeah, I do.
So
too.
hopefully that's an indication that that's
Yeah.
true. Before we go to break, let's take a look at a few more images
certainly.
from Circus Flora, which opens June 2nd and runs almost to the end of June. Is it 26th, I think?
Yeah. And that's the Arches again at Powell Symphony Hall, doing Pyramid. That's Tino on the wire at Powell Hall, above the audience, doing a handstand. And that's her on the chair, which is a really fabulous trick. There on the high wire.
You ever tried that, David?
No, I've never tried to get on the wire at all.
I don't blame you. Hey, I haven't really mentioned what you do. You serve as the MC of the whole thing.
Not really. I'm the producer. And the
Well, you
MC,
come out in the beginning.
Yeah, I come out in the beginning. Cecil McKinnon is the narrator
Right.
and
She's
the
in clown
director.
form.
Yeah, and she's she and I work on the story together, and then she basically writes it and directs.
Tell me a little bit about Cecil, because she is. I've never met her, so I'm so curious what she's like, because she's such a character when she's performing.
Well, first of all, she is a New Yorker and a very good director and a good clown, and has been with us from the very beginning. So we've, grown in this way of working that is quite extraordinary, because we only have like a week and a half of rehearsal.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. No one believes that. I mean, we deserve and should have more, but economy rules.
Right.
And but they come with their acts sort of figured out. So it's Cecil who has to weave the show together.
Just put the
and make
pieces
it
together.
Exactly.
The puzzle together.
And I think that everyone looks forward to June and being together again, too. It's a wonderful sense of family. And, of course, the tent is air-conditioned, which
You
is
can't
important.
beat that.
No.
For in a St. Louis summer day.
Exactly.
It's always comfortable, I can verify
Yeah,
that.
good.
Hey, we need to take a little break. We haven't even talked really about the theme of this year's show. We'll do that when we come back.
Great. Thank
So
you.
Circus Flora is our topic, and we'll have more in City Corner right after this.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Eddie Entertainer, and you're watching the new STL TV. That's right, boy. Yeah.
Hey St. Louis, I'm Cara Kay. Keep it right here on STL TV.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Well, on June 2nd, Circus Flora, Under the Big Top Grand Center, opens its 25th season, running through June 26th. David Balding is Circus Flora's longtime artistic director and founder, and he's with us here to preview it. And, you know, David, it's something that I said before, I look forward to it every year, and I feel like a kid again. And it's not just all the talent, which is great, but it's the whole ambiance, too. I'm a real healthy eater usually, but not when I go to Circus Flora. You know, you go in, you smell that popcorn, you see that cotton candy. I mean, that's all part of the fun.
It is. I can't eat any of that anymore.
I only do it once a year, so I don't feel too
exactly.
guilty. It's the one-ring circus under the air-conditioned big top in the parking lot, sort of adjacent to Powell Hall, June 2nd through 26th. And I don't know if you can go through all of the times. You have a lot of shows, a lot of different times, and you have a lot of opportunities for groups, certain groups and discounts.
Our website's the best place to go to get all the information, and you can click on there and get all the ticket prices and buy tickets and see the schedule and everything else. But I do want to just say it's also very affordable. You can go to Circus Flora for $8. It's hard to go to a movie for $8 anymore.
Right. There's a range. It begins at $8.
Yeah.
As I said before, the $8 seats are good.
Yeah.
So that, money's should not be an obstacle.
Exactly.
Let's look at some images from Circus Flora. In fact, we have two right here, David. These are out of your archives. These are older photographs, and I'd like you to tell me what they are.
That is Sasha Pavlata, who was my co-founder 25 years ago with Circus Flora. We met at the Big Apple Circus in New York. And above him is his student and his cousin, Aurelia Walenda, who started with us when she was 3 years old. She's Tino and Alenka's daughter, and she now does a very sophisticated, very beautiful cloud swing of her own. But this is when she was just starting. And I think what we're going to do with the show this year is tip our hat a little bit to our beginnings. And while it's set on this wonderful barge that went up and down the Mississippi before the Civil War, that was a real circus barge. It was built for a circus.
Well, back up a little. Let's talk about that. Your theme is Vagabond Adventures, and it refers to an old circus barge that really did exist?
Yes, absolutely. And it's sort of taking off from where we were with the symphony and continuing that story. But, I mean, it's not, will stand on its own, of course.
Right. Well, all the acts do. Let's bring that up, too, if you haven't been before. Every year has a theme, and Cecil, who is the narrator, sorts of ties the story together with a little dialogue between acts. So,
covering changes.
And she does a very good job at it, too. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this theme, Vagabond Adventure.
There's a wonderful performer who's been with us before, who does a rope act and a lyra act called Una Mironov. She also does an extraordinary motorcycle act, but that will have to be done outside. And she is sort of the villain in the sense that she's the glamorous, and she wants to steal the barge. And the archers are sort of the stowaways, the urchin, and they get wind of this and save the barge from being taken to Argentina. It's not a serious plot. It's not Shakespeare. But it will be a lot of fun, and it'll incorporate a few flashbacks to the start of all this.
And live music is a
very much
key
so.
element here.
Yeah. I'm very proud of the band and the music. And Miriam Cutler has written a wonderful score. She also produced One Lucky Elephant. That's the documentary, and she scored that. That's been winning awards about Flora the Elephant and myself, and our arguments with the Elephant Sanctuary, among other things.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Yeah. Was that the film that was in the St. Louis International Film Festival?
It was. And it's screening on Saturday in Nashville, and so I'm going to that. And it's been bought by Oprah to start her new channel as one of the 5 documentaries that she purchased.
How did you swing that, David?
I didn't. The producers did. But it's good because they she wants to get behind it and promote it, and there's talk of a as told to memoir from my point of view.
No kidding.
Yeah, so if my head's getting too big, tell me that.
I'm going to be watching for you on the Oprah Network.
Right.
Absolutely. Also, locally, Channel 9 KETC has done something in the past, and I think something recently.
Recently that gets repeated. I can't remember when it is, but it's soon. And it's a really nice documentation of our performance at Powell Symphony Hall.
Let's look at 3 more images from Circus Flora, so you can sort of experience the excitement from home today, opening on June 2nd.
That's the Flying Trapeze Act. And as I said, it is one of the best acts of its kind in the country. I know it. It's the best. I shouldn't say one of.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's a triple. That's that's the girl.
Yeah, if you've never seen that in person, it's really amazing. And the timing is so crucial. They flip and turn in the air and just have to be at the right place at the right time.
And then to me, it's my favorite act in the circus. I love the horses because that's what my background was. But to me, this should be a flying trapeze.
Yeah, and you can hear the audience gasp sometimes. Yeah. Is she going to make it?
And you can actually, you're close enough to see the sweat on, you know.
That's right.
They try and dry their hands so they don't
Yeah, well, that's
slip.
another important aspect. You really draw the, like Nino the Clown does in particular, the audience becomes part of it at times.
Absolutely. Well, it's an experience where they're all there, and it can be a joint experience. It becomes a community. That's what can happen, and that can happen with live theater, you know, as well. But at the circus, it seems to be that people of all ages, grandmothers and their grandchildren, have made it a tradition to come. You know, they'll come back from out of town to see Circus Flora.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the horses that you're involved. Talk a little bit about that, and I always love the dogs, too.
All right. Well, we have this wonderful new horse act, and also the youngest Paige, Mercedes Page, who's in the flying act, is working on a new riding thing. She's very wonderful and cute. And we'll have lots of a new dog act, the Alates, which is marvelous. So I think you'll be very pleased. It's very fast and good, little dogs.
Right. Let's look at some more images from Circus Flora. David Balding is our guest. He's the
now that's Una on the rope, and that's at the symphony, and that's Corps de Lis. That's one of the young acrobats showing off in front of the tent.
You mean rehearsing?
Yes. And we always juggle to cover certain aspects. So I think this year we're going to juggle earlier. That's Cecil in one of her costumes, not the one she'll wear this year.
I'm really amazed that you said a week and a half of rehearsals.
Yeah. It's
do you ever feel like you're not ready?
Always. I mean, just transitions are a key, like a review, and the story helps us with that because we don't have to be as good as the next act, like in a proper review. But it's really hard, and once the ring crew get it, then Cecil can settle into the story. And but you know, the critics come on the second night, on the third. It's media night, and we got to be ready then, or we're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, you're working with professionals.
Yeah.
That's got to make it easy. They show up getting ready to do what they do.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And they all want to be there. They're not there for the money, I promise you.
Oh, I'm sure you overpay them.
Well, some people
I know I'm overpaid, so I just figured.
Yeah, right, exactly.
David, there's a story, isn't there, and I can't remember it exactly, but I think you've told me before, about how Circus Flora sort of landed in St. Louis. Wasn't almost a mishap?
Yes, it was. We were actually stranded here. We were meant to be going to L.A. from St. Louis, and Cirque du Soleil opened at a festival in L.A., and the promoter that was bringing us out to L.A. got total cold feet and backed out, which I was very disappointed, but I don't blame them in a way. I understand. You know, that was when Dustin Hoffman couldn't get a ticket to Cirque du Soleil. I mean, it was the darling of the world. And the scalpers were having a lot of fun. But so I ended up staying here, and two things happened. One, I met Vince Schaemel, who was then the mayor, and Richard Gaddis, who was then starting Grand Center. And they encouraged me to stay here. And then also we got, well, I met my wife. Someone said that they knew a woman crazy enough to let me stay at her farm, and that's how I met Laura. So it's a love story, and I'm really glad we're here. I mean, I think St. Louis is the perfect place for us.
Do you think it could have happened anywhere?
No, I think it's part of... St. Louis is hard to get. It takes a while.
What do you mean?
Well, I remember Richard Gaddis telling me about opera theater, that until the New York Times said it was wonderful, he wasn't sure that his patrons actually thought it was wonderful. So, I mean, it takes a while to get accepted as an institution to be supported, and, you know, we have elaborate outreach programs and planning more. But it's always a little difficult, I think, for a circus to be thought of as an art form. And it's a fight we've been having, and the NEA and all those people have given in finally. The Big Apple is
an art form.
Yeah, I think so, very much so.
And let me just say once again, and I always like to tell people this, I thought I was too mature and grown up, because I hadn't seen a circus before Circus Flora since I was a kid, and I always thought, well, you know, I'm going to be bored, or it's going to be, you know, a little juvenile for me, and I was totally hooked the first time I went. I mean, it really makes every adult feel like a kid in a really good way.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's what we try, and it's for everybody. I mean, it excludes no one, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Well, June 2nd through June 26th, under the Big Top at Grand Center, lots of shows, different times, and you say the website's the best way to figure that out.
I think so, yes.
And I know there are different days you have. I know you have one day for Scouts, and you have
there are lots of
those.
And we've sold out some shows already. Thank gosh I remembered. Edward Jones is our title sponsor, and we're thrilled. I mean, that's part of what happened last year. And between them and the symphony, we're playing in the big leagues now.
Yeah, well, we give him a shout out to Edward Jones.
Yes, please.
David Balding, thanks so much. It's always a pleasure to see you, and I can't wait to see you under the Big Top.
Well, thank you. You've got to be there.
I will. I wouldn't miss it.
Good. Thanks.
That's Circus Flora, beginning June 2nd. Check out the website. That'll come up in just a moment. I'm Steve Potter. That's it for City Corner. We'll see you next time. Bye.